Ellie's Eden was created from the same belief that started as your standard. Families should have access to good food and healthy living. Named after the founder's granddaughter, Ellie's Eden reflects commitment to strong, healthy plant starts grown with care in Oregon. These are carefully selected varieties chosen for gardeners who value quality, vitality, and dependable growth. From trusted seeds to thriving plant starts, Ellie's Eden helps you plant with confidence and grow something meaningful. Explore Ellie's Eden at azurestandards.com.
Looking for these better days.
It is Friday, June 26th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. Final matches of the group stage of the World Cup continue as the round of 32 shapes up. The NHL draft is tonight, plus all the latest in Major League Baseball as weekend series get underway. Kevin Rogers joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us here. I know you're excited for the upcoming NHL season with all the work you do there with the Florida Panthers as they acquire Brady Tkachuk and the Tkachuk brothers playing together now for the Panthers as they did for Team USA. The Florida Panthers right now, your third favorite to win the Stanley Cup up on FanDuel behind the reigning Stanley Cup champion Carolina Hurricanes and the Colorado Avalanche. Actually, I need to correct myself. I just checked the odds right now, and that has changed. The Panthers are now on FanDuel the favorite to win the Stanley Cup at plus 700. The Hurricanes are second favorite at plus 750. So talk to me, brother. I know everyone around you that you work with was just ecstatic over this deal, and I guess expectations are high going into next season.
I know we haven't talked in a while, Scott, and thank you for having me on, but a couple things here. Since it feels weird because the last 3 years we went into mid-June, and the season was over. And the season was over basically in March this past year. I mean, you got to play it out till April. So it's been kind of weird sitting it out for a while. And look, no one wants the excuse machine. They don't want that. But if you follow the Panthers, it's clear as day that they had a ton of injuries that ravaged them this year. Alexander Barkov tore his ACL in September in practice right before the season, so he was done. Matthew Tkachuk had off-season surgery after the Stanley Cup final. He didn't come back till January, and you knew he was going to come back for the Olympics, but he came back about 10 days before to play for the Panthers, played very well and played in the Olympics, and then obviously finished off the season. But he was actually pretty good, even in his limited time with the Panthers. And then Sam Reinhart got banged up, Brad Marchand got banged up, and Seth Jones got hurt at the Winter Classic at Lone Depot Park when they played the Rangers. He took a puck to the collarbone. So that team, that core, they got knocked around. And I almost felt better that they didn't make the playoffs as opposed to making the first round and then losing. It's just they're not going to make it. They're just not. So just wave the white flag, move on, try to get healthy for next year. So they talked about all the moves they would potentially make. Would they get Dylan Larkin from the Red Wings? When the Brady Tkachuk rumors came out, I didn't think it was going to happen. I just didn't think they'd be able to swing it. And I don't want to speak for anybody. I don't. It's just opinion. This is all this is, Scott. I think he was probably done up there in Ottawa. I think that
of course.
The Senators can only go so far. And I'm sure with Brady, not only the idea of playing with his brother, but also playing this loaded team where he has now all the pressure on him, probably was very attractive to him. So we'll see how it all works out. Again, you need health. Like, you need that. But if this team is healthy, I got to think that they are going pretty far in the Eastern Conference. You know, I'm sure a lot of people want to see the Panthers play the Hurricanes again. The Panthers beat them 2 of the past 3 years, obviously prior to this year, 2 of the past 3 years in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I'm sure a lot of people want to see that showdown again. And look, Carolina rolled along in the playoffs. They played well. They knocked out Vegas in the Stanley Cup after being down 2-1. They won the final 3. Maybe they found their goalie of the future with Brandon Bussey, who was with the Panthers for a minute before they let him go. And it was a good move by Carolina to get him. And he obviously was great for them. But yeah, let's see what the Panthers can do now with this full roster. I don't know if they're done. And again, Sergei Bobrovsky, we'll see what his deal is if he returns to the Panthers this year, trying to work out that contract. But still a lot of intrigue going into the offseason.
Yeah, I think we see this a lot of times in sports, you know, for a team that you can call them a dynasty. I mean, it's fair, right? You go to the final so many years in a row, it could be considered a dynasty. You take a year off. You need like that sabbatical because you just can't sustain it year after year after year. But for a team like the Panthers to load up and to stock up with a player like Brady Kachuk after you have that down year, I think it was a great move for them, and I could see them just getting right back to form here with everybody healthy this coming season.
Well, and also too, you do this is like what happened when LeBron was in Miami too. That you're just playing so many games, it just wears on you.
Yes.
You're not playing 82 games, you're playing like 100 games.
Mhm.
And again, not excuses, things that are tangible. The last 2 years, you had the Four Nations and you had the Olympics. The Panthers had a ton of guys playing in both those tournaments. And granted, the Four Nations was in North America, so you don't have the crazy travel of that. And it was only four teams. And the Olympics, they had to go to Italy, and it was a
Mhm.
lot. But you had, I think, 8 guys on the team in the Four Nations. They still won the Stanley Cup that year. And you had a bunch of guys. I mean, obviously, Barkov didn't play in it because he was hurt, but Kachuk and Team Canada had
Reinhardt.
Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart,
Yep.
Brad Marchand. You had Anton Lundell playing. I think Lo Starinen was playing. You had a bunch of guys playing on these teams. That's a lot. And,
Mhm.
now that you have a year without the Olympics, without the Four Nations, you have just an all star break. That's going to be helpful for this team. It's just a lot of wear and tear, and it just got to them. And you kind of knew. I said March. I mean, in all honesty, in like late January, early
Yeah.
February, you're kind of
Yeah.
like, this isn't going to happen. Like
Mhm.
they're not going to make another run simply because you're too far behind. And when Buffalo wins like 35 of 40 games, it was some stupid thing that they did. Montreal was much improved. Uh, it's just not enough. There are not enough teams. You can't make it. And the Panthers just it didn't work out. It just was
Yeah.
a season. It didn't work out. But you said dynasty, and we think of like, oh, UCLA or the Celtics. To go 3 straight years to a final in any of these sports is still pretty impressive. If you
Yep.
think about it, it's so hard to get there once and then twice in 3 straight years that we'll see what happens. Move on to the next year, and hopefully it's everybody's healthy, and we'll see how far they can go.
Well, tonight is the NHL draft, and Gavin McKenna, the Penn State superstar, young Canadian sensation, the overwhelming favorite to go number one overall. I mean, it's off the board, like literally. Actually, it's not off the board. Up on FanDuel, it's minus 20,000. If you want a quick return on your money, you can do something with that. The number two pick has even gotten overwhelming now. Ivar Stenberg minus 900 to go second overall. Caleb Maholtra is plus 110 to go third overall. Chase Reed also plus 110 to go third overall. So that's really where the draft likely starts tonight. Do you have any interest in the draft tonight, or are you just going to sit back and watch to see who takes who, and if there are any trades that are made with some players, maybe on some contract deals that teams want to get out of for in favor of some draft stock?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see. I mean, not necessarily the Panthers, but other players if they end up getting moved, like what the Red Wings do with Dylan Larkin, because
Yeah.
he was rumored to come to the Panthers. Like maybe if he gets moved elsewhere. I mean, look with McKenna going to Toronto, I think for the Maple Leafs, as far as they fell last year, and they're so desperate to get to the Stanley Cup final. When you have Austin Matthews, you have Tavares, your goaltending situation is still kind of, in flux, even though, Anthony Stolarz with the Panthers, and he was a really good backup, and he went to Toronto. He just hasn't been healthy. That's the problem. It hasn't been bad. He just
Hmm.
hasn't been healthy. But, Toronto, they could use this a little juice here with McKenna because he's such a high prospect, a highly rated prospect. And, it's not a disrespect to like Calgary or teams like that, but they want to see someone go to a big market and a big
Yeah.
team. They don't want him to get lost in the shuffle. And
Hmm.
again, the Maple Leafs were kind of like the Panthers this past year, a team that kept going to the playoffs year after year after year, and just injuries hurt them, and it just didn't work. Now they have a new head coach, and again, Austin Matthews, see if he's healthy this year. Uh, See them get back in the playoffs. You had a whole new batch of teams this year that went into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. So now, I mean, besides Carolina and Tampa Bay, and I mean, Montreal had made it the year before, and so did Ottawa. But you saw Buffalo go in. Philadelphia made a late run. Pittsburgh wasn't expected to do much. They finished in second place. So we'll just see. Also, Scott, see if the Rangers improve. See if the Devils improve. That these teams that were in the playoffs that fell short The Capitals, another team too, that they won their division and they couldn't get in the playoff. They won the division last year and couldn't get in the playoffs. So we'll see if that evens out this year, or if those teams that made it this past year stay consistent. The East is very interesting, just the way things have flipped over the last year.
Well, up on FanDuel right now, you can bet some Gavin McKenna specials, including McKenna to score 20 plus goals at minus 245, to score 25 plus goals is plus 196, to score 30 goals is plus 600. And I'll be honest, this kid probably shouldn't start the season at the NHL, but that's not the case anymore. Like, you draft somebody number one overall, they're fast tracked right to the NHL. It's not like it used to be where you draft somebody and they'd, play in the AHL or whatever for a little bit, develop before you saw them on an NHL team. But 30 goals for a rookie, I mean, when was the last time? I mean, I know Austin Matthews had 40 his rookie year. That was several years ago, but it's been like quite some time since we had like a big time scoring season from a rookie, I think.
I'd have to look back just at the numbers, but if you were to say even Connor Bedard a few years ago with the Blackhawks and what he did, I mean, we saw what Matthew Schaefer did with the Islanders. But
Sure.
as
Yeah.
far as like even Connor Bedard, he was someone who back a few years ago, I mean, I'm just like quickly looking here, he had 23 goals, it
Hmm.
looks like, in his rookie year. He played all 82 games, and that was the number one pick. And he had 30 goals this past year, but that's still pretty impressive for actually, I'm wrong on that. His first year at 22 goals. He had 22, 23, and 30. Still 22. He missed 14 games in his second. I just lose track of time. I don't remember when they're drafted. Yeah, this is what happens to all of us. So his first year played 68 games, second year 82, last year 69. So that's still not bad for someone who's that young. But
Hmm.
again, you're putting up at least 20 goals. Even 20 goals is asking a lot for these guys. But the difference with Connor Bedard is that he's on a Chicago team that doesn't have much scoring around him. We're on
Exactly.
Toronto. You have Austin Matthews, you have Tavares, you have Nylander, you have these guys that could score. So, how are you going to get your goals? I guess you have to kind of, you got to share the puck, as opposed to you being the one guy to look at. So that'll be interesting to see just him get his opportunities with those other guys around him.
Yeah, I'd love to find a no price on that somewhere. See if I can bet the under. How much World Cup are you getting into, if any? Have you bet any of these games, or are you just watching as a fan?
I'm just watching, and look, I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world, but I see the excitement, and I'm down in South Florida, and there's already been a couple matches here at Miami Stadium, not at Hard Rock Stadium. Thanks, FIFA. Uh, Uruguay played twice here. Brazil was here on Wednesday, and then you're gonna have on Saturday Colombia and Portugal play. So that's gonna be a big match. It's exciting, like it really is, and to see Team USA already advancing to the knockout round. They play Bosnia in the first game, and then we'll see what happens when they reach some of the other teams. I mean, I don't know
Hmm.
the bracket necessarily, but yeah, I mean, I'd be curious, as a lot of other people, to see what they could do against. I mean, I don't know if they would play France necessarily, or if they would play Brazil or Argentina. But if they got to that point to play some of those countries, you want to see what they could do against them. And look, we all know in this country, when you watch like the Olympics, let's just say, you watch men's basketball or women's basketball, USA is going to win. Like you just know they are because they have
Yep.
the best players. And this is the one sport where it's not even a guarantee. There's no guarantee. They're not going to win it. Like it's not saying, oh well, maybe they'll win. Like they're not going to win it. They're just out talented in these other countries. But you're kind of curious to see against some of these teams. Oh, can they hang with them? And this is not the number one sport in this country. Other countries, this is their number one, number two, number three sports. That's why they're so crazy about it. But it's good to see that people are getting behind it. It's just about let's see what they do here against some of the big dogs. And
Yeah.
maybe they pull an upset, but beating the likes of Australia and Paraguay, like that's nice and all. But at the same time, you play some of these South American countries. Let's see what you do there, and maybe that'll change some people's opinions if they could beat one of them.
Yeah, it looks like I mean, there's a possibility it could be Belgium in the round of
Okay.
16. If they finish atop Group G and then win their round of 32 match, still Group G is still to be determined. Belgium will be in action here tonight against New Zealand on the three-way line. Belgium minus 600, New Zealand plus 1400, the draw plus 650. Elsewhere tonight, Iran against Egypt. Egypt plus 145. They're currently on top of the group. Iran plus 280 and the draw plus 165. So short odds on the draw there. Other action for today, Uruguay against Spain, where Spain is minus 220, Uruguay plus 650, the draw plus 330. Saudi Arabia against Cape Verde. Saudi Arabia, actually Cape Verde plus 165, Saudi Arabia plus 170, the draw plus 230. Senegal against Iraq, Senegal minus 475, Iraq plus 1200, the draw plus 550. And France takes on Norway, the French minus 180, Norway plus 420, the draw plus 360. Your odds courtesy of FanDuel. I'm sure a lot of people will be betting the Mbappe anytime goal scorer. I mean, Kevin, did you see everybody cashing the Mbappe, Messi, Holland goals, where 2+ goals each 2 times already here in this World Cup? People are cashing like maniacs.
I saw that, and it really is amazing. Down here we have Messi playing for Inter Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't go to the games here, but having LeBron here is one thing, but then having Messi and just what the response is for this guy playing for Inter Miami and seeing him do this at 39, and
Yeah.
he gets a hat trick in the first game. He gets 2 goals in the second one. Of course, he misses. Like he can't he can't make the penalty kicks. That he can't do. But everything else, like in action, he does. But the penalty kicks are always a bugaboo for him. But it's unbelievable that the stars have come out so far in this tournament. And I want to ask you this though, Scott. So what's been your I guess portfolio, or however you want to call it, so far in the World Cup? What have you looked at, or what are you looking ahead to?
Team totals. Like, I've been betting team totals. That's the thing that's been coming through for me, is like trying to isolate one team that I think is going to go out there and score against their opponent. And obviously when we get into these third matches, it's like it's hard because there's the motivation factor. Like, some teams, need to win, some teams don't need to win. But you have you have a team like France. It's like, all right, bet that team total over 2.5. They're going to score 3 goals. Same thing with England when they played an overmatched opponent. The United States over 1.5. Like, there's so many different ways to attack these games. I know everyone's been making a killing betting the draws. I've just liked betting the team totals, and so that's something I'm probably going to look to do here with France and Norway. And I think both teams are going to score goals. Maybe Norway only gets one, but I think France will score multiple goals in that game coming up here today.
Yeah, and look, it's very exciting. That's one thing we can say, and getting a lot of these goals has been exciting. But I think too, I mean, it's like the NCAA tournament. Once you weed out some of the bad
Yeah,
teams, and we're not
yeah.
seeing those kind of upsets. We're not seeing any upsets. Yes, you've seen some draws. We saw Spain had a draw early
Mhm,
on, and Brazil. Like, you see some of these things where, like, whoa, but
mhm.
once it kind of is for real, and again, a draw is a tough one because you don't have a winner or a loser. So it's not like
Yeah.
saying, oh, they got upset. They just didn't win the match. But once we weed it out and then get to some of the better teams playing each other, then it's going to get really interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're going to see some unders. The
Yeah.
unders come in when these teams play much better defense and play tighter with elimination on the line.
Ellie's Eden was created from the same belief that started as your standard. Families should have access to good food and healthy living. Named after the founder's granddaughter, Ellie's Eden reflects commitment to strong, healthy plant starts grown with care in Oregon. These are carefully selected varieties chosen for gardeners who value quality, vitality, and dependable growth. From trusted seeds to thriving plant starts, Ellie's Eden helps you plant with confidence and grow something meaningful. Explore Ellie's Eden at azurestandard.com.
The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every goal changes everything. And now, FanDuel is giving you a reason to root for every single one. Introducing Every Goal Pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. That's right, more goals means more bonus bets, and all you have to do is turn on your token. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/believe to get started now. 21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DC, Kentucky, and Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY New York. Call 1-877-770-7867 in Louisiana.
You and I haven't spoke since the big trade, Giannis going to the Miami Heat. Up on FanDuel, the Heat are the 5th favorite to win the NBA title. You have the Thunder and Spurs as your favorites at plus 260, Celtics plus 600, your reigning NBA champion Knicks plus 800, and then the Miami Heat 20-1. You can also wager on the Miami Heat win total, 50 plus wins, plus 120 up on FanDuel. How much does this change the dynamic of this team? You look at their potential starting five. I mean, you can put it up there with anybody here in the, what some would say weakened Eastern Conference. Is it a foregone conclusion? The Heat are going to be in the mix to go to the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
I mean, look, we always talk about health, and with Giannis, when he's healthy, he's great, but if he gets hurt, then it doesn't matter. Like then you have a big problem. And I understand Bam was like the only untouchable guy on this team, which he should be. There really wasn't a lot of other guys that you get excited about. But Pat Riley and the front office, they've been trying for years to get that big name. They couldn't get Kevin Durant. They couldn't get Russell Westbrook years ago. They couldn't get Chris Paul. There were so many guys. And look, they got LeBron. They got Jimmy Butler. They got Chris Bosh. They got Shaq a long time ago. But this was maybe the final big name, I think, that Pat Riley can acquire, who's somebody still in his prime. Like even Kevin Durant's not in his prime. Like he's not, I mean, he's still really good, but he's not in that age of early 30s or so. I mean, I look back, I'm like, Giannis is his 13th year, which is amazing because he came in at 18. But look, I think that they had it was a divorce in Milwaukee and they had to move on from that. I'm sure he needs a fresh start. And I mean, the difference between Giannis and like James Harden and Jimmy Butler and Russell Westbrook and Durant and those guys is like they are happy until they're unhappy. I don't think Giannis is built that way. I think Giannis, he spent his whole career in one place, helped him win a championship, and it just didn't work out anymore. And I think that the Heat, yes, they'll be in the mix, but again, you need major health here because if Giannis or Bam goes down, there's not a lot to get excited about, I think, on this team. But people get excited to watch. The fans will be excited to watch him play here. And there's been a lot of star power in Miami over time. And we've seen them deliver. We saw Shaq deliver. We saw Wade deliver. LeBron, Jimmy Butler, granted, didn't win a championship, but went to the finals twice with the Heat. So Giannis can do it. They can make a run. And like you said with the East, look, the Knicks had a great postseason run. I don't know if this is a dynasty necessarily, or things kind of broke their way. They missed the Celtics in the second round. They didn't play the Pistons in the final, in the Eastern Conference final. They didn't play Oklahoma City. And I don't want to take away. I'm just making those points.
Sure.
They were great, and they were down all those games against San Antonio and came back. But I just don't know if you can do it again. I don't know what to think of the Celtics, just because it's just an odd.
They're going to trade Jaylen Brown probably, and we'll see what they look like,
And you know what, too? I don't really know if Jason Tatum is 100%. Like you saw him miss the end that game 7 against Philadelphia. I don't know where he's at necessarily. And then you look at, I mean, I don't know much I don't know if Detroit can make that run, and Cleveland, if they keep James Harden, like what that looks like. So yes, the Heat have a chance in the East, but I just think there's a lot of teams kind of in that same situation. Yeah. There's nobody running. This isn't Oklahoma City in the West where like they are the odds-on favorite. In the East, it's kind of like a bunch of teams that can make a run. And if Giannis is healthy, then yes, the Heat can make a run because they've been there, and Spoelstra's one of the best coaches in the league. He'll get Giannis, and Giannis isn't a problem. That's the thing. It's not a problem like Jimmy Butler, and they still got there with Jimmy Butler. So it's exciting. It is definitely. They needed a change, Scott. They needed something else because what they had, they were just mediocre. There was a middling team. So I think getting Giannis provides some excitement, but I'm not going to say they're an NBA Finals team, but the way the East is, it is wide open.
You know what I like? And I talked about this earlier in the week with my guy Mackenzie when the trade went down. Giannis plus 1,200 right now up on FanDuel to be the MVP. I think that's the bet because he doesn't have to put the same intensity defensively as he had to in Milwaukee because you got a guy in Bam that could pick up the defensive slack, right? You mentioned Spoelstra. He'll probably unlock the best version of Giannis that we're going to see. He's going to be motivated now playing for a new team. And I think that if you're right, if he stays healthy, and we know this, he's a top 5 player in the world when he's healthy. He's a former MVP. He's always up there. If you look at Hollinger's player efficiency metrics, right, which always determines the MVP pretty much every year, Giannis is always at the top of the list. Plus 1,200, Giannis MVP. I could see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about health, and he's going to be a focal point. I mean, no matter where he goes, he's going to be a focal point. But look, you just played for Doc Rivers the last year plus. So like now, look at your upgrade for you. You're going from Doc Rivers, and look, I know that Doc's they've blown all the 3-1 leads and all that stuff, but now you got Eric Spoelstra, who's obviously going to be a Hall of Fame coach someday. Look at, I mean, when you think about it, Giannis played 36 games this past season. He averaged 27.6 points per game. Before that, 30.4, 30.4, 31.1.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't played 80 games since 2017. So before the pandemic, way before, I mean, the year they won the championship was 2021, correct? And he averaged 28 points a game, averaged 11 rebounds a game. So even 2 years ago, he still was putting up 30 and 11 and nearly, 30 and 11, 6.5 assists. So he's one of the best. I know you have competition with SGA, with Luka, with Jokic, like all these guys. And again, all guys that aren't Americans that are the top 5 players in the world, like, which is so funny that those are the guys that, are going for the MVP every year. But yes, he definitely is in the conversation if he could play 75 games this year.
100%. Before we wrap this up, obviously you do so much great work with Major League Baseball. You go to our MLB Game Centers up on betterday.com. You'll see all the data provided by Kevin with the strikeout database, the first 5 database. What's some trends that you've noticed here in Major League Baseball? I know there was an article that came out last week about, the possibility of different batch of baseballs being used because of all the overs that we saw in a couple of weeks span. I don't know how much I'd buy into that. Could just be variance, could just be noise, but anything that has jumped out to you about what you've noticed and some trends, some things that you've been tracking as we head into another weekend of series here in Major League Baseball.
I mean, there's, some of the first 5 stuff. Arizona was on something like a 116-1 run in the first 5 innings, but that's ended now. They've kind of tapered off a little bit. They went on some like gross run. The Cubs have actually been on a nice first 5 run.
Washington, how great has Washington been in the first 5?
Washington, Scott, what's interesting, going into Thursday's action, they were actually after Thursday's action, after knocking around Christopher Sanchez.
Yep.
They are 44, 27, and 10 in the first 5. And in the last 60, they're 36, 17, and 8 in the first 5 innings. So Washington they've been unbelievable. They've been really, really good considering no one can really name their pitching staff or, no one even knows who's on their pitching staff. But Washington has been very good as far as first 5. And as far as strikeouts go, the biggest offender has been the LA Angels. And that almost feels like if it's a manageable number, take the over on strikeouts, whoever the starting pitcher is facing the Angels. But also teams that are on the flip side that have not struck out a lot. One of them, which is kind of odd or you wouldn't think of, is the San Francisco Giants, that they really have not struck out a lot. They're towards the bottom. The Rays are towards the bottom. The Cardinals, they don't strike out a lot against left-handed pitching. Is something to keep an eye on. Also, Arizona's been pretty good limiting strikeouts as well. Baltimore has been bad. Cincinnati's been bad in strikeouts against starting pitching. So, yeah, if you check it out on betterday.com, there's a whole bunch of data. Also, I've tried to implement, or I'm working on it, throwing in pitcher outs as well. So you can see the pitcher not only the amount of strikeouts they had in each game, but also the outs they record. It's in parentheses next to their name, so you can kind of see that and get an idea. There's one thing I like. It's not a 100% system by any stretch. Nothing is, but I always like finding like middling pitchers, not Mizorowski or Ohtani or any of those guys or Schlittler, but middle of the road guys that are off of like who was it? It was Dusty May of the Cardinals. He almost had a no hitter or a perfect game against the Padres. His next outing, he got relieved or he got taken out in the second or third inning.
Yeah,
that those guys they have 24 outs or so that are not great pitchers. I like to go against their outs the next game because I'm like, they're not going to do this again. And on the flip side, if someone gets knocked around early, then maybe the next start they'll be better. So check those out. Again, not for the aces because we already know that about them. But I always feel like, Scott, even the same thing like in college basketball, there's so many teams. I don't like to focus on the Dukes and the UConns and teams like that. Find the middle of the road inconsistent teams. Those are the ones where I think you could find value because no one's paying attention and you know they're going to be inconsistent. So find when they're off a big win to fade them or maybe off of a loss that they were a big favorite, maybe as an underdog, take them the next time. Those are the ones I always like. And the same thing goes for baseball as opposed to looking for the biggest names where you may not get as much value with those big names.
Oh, for sure. And something that I like doing is the pitcher walks. Going like over.
Oh, I love those. Oh, that's living on the edge. That is you don't live until you do that.
I had David Peterson of the New York Mets last weekend over 1.5 walks. He walked the first 2 batters of the game, won the bet. He didn't walk another guy for the next 4 innings. So it was the first 2 batters walked and we won the bet. That's it. No other walks. He finished like 4 2/3 innings with 2 walks. It was great.
I'm telling you, the walk prop, if you have it with batters or with pitchers, like, again, you have not lived life yet until you do that because you get to a 3-1 count and you're like, A, throw it out of the strike zone, and B, don't swing at it. Like, if you throw the strike zone is one thing, but don't swing at ball 4. Please don't swing at ball 4. So it's definitely fun.
And now you're sweating out ABS challenges too. So that's always.
Oh, and that's the worst because yes, it's good and bad. It's good because you say, okay, that should be ball 4, but also you're like, like I know it should have been a ball or it should have been a strike, but you called it a ball and you win. So yes, the ABS definitely makes it challenging.
Well, Kevin, great stuff, man. Tell the audience where they could find you, what you've been working on, and what you have coming up.
You could find me at Rogers Picks on the X, and also you can find my work on Prize Picks as well, covering all sorts of stuff for DFS. Been covering a lot of WNBA recently, and you can find a lot of good spots there. Also NASCAR, been covering the races every week for that. And if you avoid the crashes in NASCAR, you could probably win. It's just not the greatest feeling when you think you have someone and there's some crash and all of a sudden your whole thing is torpedoed. But definitely you have options a lot of places and definitely a lot of fun to keep track of all that.
Well, we appreciate all the work you do for us, of course, at Better Day. Be sure to follow Kevin on social media. Check out his podcast as well. Every time he makes an appearance, you'll find that on his Twitter/X page. I'm Scott Seidenberg. He's Kevin Rogers. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
Ellie's Eden was created from the same belief that started as your standard. Families should have access to good food and healthy living. Named after the founder's granddaughter, Ellie's Eden reflects commitment to strong, healthy plant starts grown with care in Oregon. These are carefully selected varieties chosen for gardeners who value quality, vitality, and dependable growth. From trusted seeds to thriving plant starts, Ellie's Eden helps you plant with confidence and grow something meaningful. Explore Ellie's Eden at azuresstandard.com.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.